All right. Welcome in, everybody. This is a big one today. This is, I have to say, without a doubt, one of my favorite games of all time. I mean, those of you who know the image you're looking at right now, you know exactly what game this is. Everybody knows the Buster Sword. Hell, I'm pretty sure it even made an appearance in the Blue Beetle movie they released for DC. I can't even remember when, probably about a year or two ago. But it's become one of the greatest symbols for this game. It has made waves upon its initial release. It has made waves with the remake, even though I know it's not selling as well as they'd hope, but that's because it's essentially just on one console right now. But where I really want to get started with this is, of course, this is Final Fantasy VII. This is a game that came out January 31st, which feel free to correct me in the chat if that's not right. January 31st of 1997. This game, we're going to get started on now. I'm playing it on the Xbox. I really hope I don't accidentally push in any of those sticks to get that stuff going. Anyway, this game changed the landscape for games that came after. This was the first Final Fantasy that didn't appear on a Nintendo console. Square spent a ton of money on this game, and it was so much more massive compared to anything at the time. It was actually, for the longest time, one of the most expensive video game projects ever, clocking in at an estimated $40 million. They looked at every platform they could put it on. They considered putting it on the Sega Saturn, but if anybody knows the Sega Saturn's history, they know why that didn't happen. It was hard to develop for, wasn't selling that well over in the West especially, and if you're going to make a game with a $40 million budget in the 90s, it better sell. Square had a lot of commercial success, though, at the time, so they had more resources to put into it. The final year of its development, they put in about, you say, from the things I've read, about 150 to 200 people working on this thing to get it to the point you're seeing now, which was incredibly impressive for its day, especially on a home console. They chose the PlayStation because the memory capacity for the CD-ROM at the time was greater. The hardware was greater. The PlayStation could actually handle this. The N64 couldn't. And they realized that during development at one point, that just one of the monsters, the Behemoth in particular, appearing would have actually practically crashed the frame rate. So they abandoned the idea of releasing it for the N64. They still considered Windows, which it did get a Windows release later. So this game will always hold a special place in my heart because, I was 9 years old when it came out. The themes it dealt with, the maturity it handled, I didn't quite grasp fully at the time, being only 9, but it still made an impression on me that actually affected, in a lot of ways, the way I saw things. I pick up potions off these guys. The way that I viewed the world at the time, and subsequently thereafter. So, in fact, the first time, the first time I ever saw this game was at my cousin's house. He's also a friend of Don Aram and the Horizons of Achaea crew. In fact, the writer of Horizons of Achaea introduced me to this. And we spent the entire weekend, playing and getting through Midgard. Now granted, this was my first Final Fantasy I ever played. I missed out on the SNES era. I didn't have one. I had a Sega Genesis. Played a ton of platformers. I was basically still stuck on Mario, and of course Sonic and stuff like that. So I'd never really gotten into a game like this. But one of the things that I did in the lead up to this game. Hey, thank you, chat. My cousin is cool. Not really gonna say handsome though, because I'm not taking that bait. So I was at my cousin's house. He showed me this game. It was nothing. It was like nothing I'd ever seen before. Of course, like I said, I missed the SNES days. And in the lead up to this, I actually have been playing Final Fantasy VI recently, for really the second full time. I got a hold of it later. But the gameplay is so different between 6 and 7 that you can really tell that Square really was more concerned with putting their passion into this project. They really pushed it forward and went an entirely new direction. And it paid off in huge dividends. I mean, still, it became one of the highest selling games of its day. Of course, that total, I'm pretty sure, has been eclipsed pretty easily. And no, Lunar PD, I'm not gonna say it. I could, but I won't. So there. I know who you are. But yeah, we spent the entire weekend having played this game, enjoying the absolute hell out of it, trying to learn its system, switching on deaths. I remember I was actually the one that finished the fight successfully the first time to get us out of Midgar. So, and then of course you get to the world map, and I couldn't believe what I was seeing then. So, I have, I'm not ashamed to admit, probably played this game all the way through, beginning to end, at least 24 times. I replay it probably about once a year. So you guys are getting me at my once a year total right now. Well put. A whole weekend in the summer, never step foot outdoors the way God intended. Yeah, I completely agree with that. It also helps that I am one of those few people in the world who apparently can't tan either, so summer was never kind to me. Yes, I will come with you for now, Barrett. Code deciphered. So, again, I can't sing this game's praises enough. I have done and developed so many different ways to play it that, well, you'll see here a little later. I can remember grinding mercilessly one time through Midgar, hoping just to level up limit breaks, which we'll get into that here soon, because enough battles you'll eventually see one. There's a special way to level up limit breaks in this game. I'm just going to dive into it. I'm tired of waiting already. Limit breaks in this game, every character has a set count of how many enemies they have to kill to get to the next level for the level 2, 3, and 4, or well, not 4. 4 takes a special item. And it's different between Cloud and all the other characters. Now, if you want to get the second tier of their first level, or of that current level's limit break, you have to use the first tier a certain amount of times. In particular, it is usually 6 times with each character at every level to get the next tier of that. So in particular, to get to Cloud's level 2 limit break, I believe you have to start off killing 160 or 180 enemies. Again, feel free to correct me on that one. Whereas each other character has to kill 80 enemies to reach the next level of each successive limit break. And the reason for that being that Cloud is the only character, with the exception of one part in the game, that you always have to have in your party. So, if you want to get Aerith's level 4 limit break, have fun with that, because you don't have a whole lot of time to see that through. Sorry, spoilers for a nearly 30-year-old game. So typically, I wind up saving my main attacks here. Or items, material, all that for the boss fight and subsequent escape. There's also other items I don't really use, and never have. Ethers, never really used them. Unless I just so happen to not be able to finish a fight, but never really worked out that way for me. At least not for some number of years now. Oop. Getting a little bit ahead of myself there. I'll have to talk to Jesse here soon, but not for that reason. Yeah, you can see I've played this quite a few times. That and my son created some extra save files across multiple slots. It's fun. Oh, here we go. Let's go ahead and get one use out of the way. 5 more to go. I mean, there's a lot of variety in enemies. I would say, based on my recent experience playing Final Fantasy VI, probably more variety of enemies by region than what you'll find in that game. But of course, again, the enhanced capabilities of the CD-ROM versus the cartridge-based system they used to use really allowed for that. But just go ahead and do that. Heck yeah. See, I wish I could equip it right now. Can't, though. Set the bomb, Cloud. Like that. If Cloud's supposed to be ex-soldier, there's nothing Barret can do to stop him. So, a fun fact about Final Fantasy VII is that when they were initially taking pitches, development began in about 1994, I believe. When they were taking pitches, one of the pitches that was rejected wound up becoming Xenogears. And if you also notice, between those two games, if you play both of them, there are very similar themes between both of them. Yeah, I say I can't do any impressions of these characters. Every time they speak now, I hear the remake actors voicing it in my head. So here's a throwback for you, Lunar PD. Remember how we used to add soundtracks to this crap? Every time Barret used Big Shot, using that old song, had to be a big shot. Big jump. Yeah, you'll remember. I gotta start paying attention here, because he does have a trick that he'll use here soon. He's only got about 800 health. Give me my lemon break. How dare you? shoot. Oh, better get this one ready. So yeah, I should have taken this a little slower, because now he's gonna pummel me with this stupid ass tail laser. So when his tail goes up, you quit attacking. Why did I just do that? Errors were made. And the error was his. And what is that? 2 for Cloud, 2 for Barrett now? Okay. About 4 away from getting Mind Blow, I believe, for Barrett, and Cross Slash for Cloud. Oh yeah, you noticed that? I didn't save 3 times in a row. I've become so overconfident over the years that it will one day be my undoing. Although, I still do not ignore the cardinal rule of RPGs, and that is save every damn time you can. Can I go ahead and equip that? Oh, yeah. Go ahead and use it. I got 10 minutes to get out of here. To which random encounters will be the name of the game. There you go. How's that for you, Lunar PD? I didn't even save right there. I'm even ignoring the cardinal rule of RPGs. Oh, hubris. Oh, here we go. They start back attacking you. All you gotta do is try and escape from the battle, and they'll at least turn around to look at them. However, getting caught from behind that like that usually puts your characters in the back row to where they will do less damage. Which is why Cloud only hit for 20. But I'm bitter. Oh yeah, we did just talk about saving, but because you said that, I didn't. And yes, some of these actions will clearly just be to spite you. Oh, my turn. Wait. Make a damn bit of sense. Save the MP, right? Who cares? Okay. From what I hear, the game audio was a bit too loud there, so I just adjusted it. Alright. Save Jesse. Climb the ladder. I am pretty sure that a lot of this reactor setup definitely violates some kind of whatever type of OSHA they have in the Shinra world. Now that I say that out loud, I realize how stupid that sounds. Shinra is the worst company on Earth, or Gaia in this case, literally. So, there you go. Corporate malfeasance abound. I mean, this game does spare nobody in confusing Shinra for a company with a heart. Like, you'll never be able to get that impression. Just like the fact that the elevator has to let you know that it's on. Code deciphered. Your turn, Biggs. Yeah. Of course, they leave the heavier guy on the team's named Wedge. And continuing in a Final Fantasy tradition, actually, of having a Biggs and a Wedge in the game. And like most other Final Fantasies, we'll also come to see a Cid later. And there you go. Yeah, we're gonna save the planet through eco-terrorism. And that's another kind of interesting one, is like Final Fantasy games usually don't get sequels very often. There's definitely some cases. X2, 13 got a sequel, which I never played because I didn't like 13. But I mean, Final Fantasy VII had a different approach, like 10 years after the fact, where they started off with an anime based on Zack's escape from the Shinra Manor. They had only one episode kind of thing, a short movie of sorts. They did Final Fantasy VII Advent Children, the movie, and around the same time they also released Final Fantasy VII Dirge of Cerberus, which was a standalone Vincent story. Hey, don't see many flowers around here. Weirdest transaction. Hey, there was kind of a huge explosion, a lot of people dead, potentially a terrorist attack. Would you like a flower? Yeah, alright. But of course, we'll see more of her. Freak out there. Ooh, that's mine. Now, I'm magically healed. All we had to do was blow up part of a collapsed train tunnel to apparently heal all wounds. Avalanche. A terrorist group founded if you played one of the other Final Fantasy compilation things that came before, what was it, before Crisis, where you played as one of the Turks. You find out that Rufus Shinra funded Avalanche in their early days. Good question. To my knowledge, there is no Final Fantasy store in Japan like Pokemon has. But they do sell a lot of merchandise, though, especially on the Square store, if you're willing to drop $80 for a figure, or sometimes more. But yeah, I have played all of the Final Fantasy compilation stuff, or watched it, with the exception of Before Crisis, the one where you play as a Turk. I just read about it. I also played Crisis Core, which was Zack's story, and the lead up to what happens right at the beginning of Final Fantasy VII here. So, it is... It expanded quite a bit. And, I mean, the amount of fantastic critical reviews and the fact that people were still talking about it well over 10 years later really helped Square make a decision that was, I like money, let's make more. Dirge of Cerberus didn't get the best reception, though. I do remember that. Advent Children, the movie, there, also didn't exactly get the warmest reception. I enjoyed it at the time, because for a completely computer-animated movie, it looked incredible. But pretty light on story and kind of some annoying character tropes. But it did really clear up some of the questions left unanswered by Final Fantasy VII, though. Especially the fact that Rufus Shinra survives the events of this game. And of course, I've also played Remake and Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, so I have been crazy about this game for damn near 30 years now. Blood never came. No, Barrett still has faith. So one thing they expanded on in Final Fantasy VII Remake and Rebirth was, I think instead of Remake they should have just called it The Thirst, because there's not a single lady in that first part of the remake that is not absolutely fawning over Cloud. Oh, such screw-ups! Oh, he sounds like my dad. Let's see. But what's this? Now, if I remember correctly, the trope of jumping on top of a train and that kind of stuff, like big train fights, being on top of a train as it was speeding down, ducking through the tunnels, that was a big thing in like 80s and 90s movies. They did that a lot. I mean, hell, I'm thinking probably the most notable example was Mission Impossible, but that involved a helicopter. Well played, Grammarchist. A train, suplex it! That's a great reference. If you don't know what it is, look it up. And a lot of Wild West movies did have train fighting on it, usually in the form of train robbery. Aw, man, he's gonna dock my pay for making people worry. So, there you go, folks. This eco-terrorist organization, your pay can get docked for making people feel emotional about whether you're there or not. Thanks, Jesse. Alright, let's head to Sector 7. One thing I will say about this, too, I only have, at least at the moment, 3 video game soundtracks on my phone. One of them is Clair Obscur, because it's an absolutely amazing soundtrack. And then the other 2 are Final Fantasy VII and Xenogears, because holy crap. Yeah, okay, I get it. A step too far. Show me this diagram. But the Final Fantasy VII soundtrack was absolutely amazing, and a lot of it is actually still being played in orchestra tours all over the place. Most specifically, the 2 that get played the most, I believe, from this are Aerith's theme and One Winged Angel. Which is fitting, they're the 2 most influential characters in this series. Sephiroth and Aerith. Oh man, we gotta blow up 8 reactors? Hell yeah, let's give this town 0 power. So in case you weren't getting the idea of how terrible this world was going to be, it's going to get driven driven home here pretty quick. Midgar is a city on plates that are extended above the ground, and up top, the not necessarily affluent citizens, but basically middle class on up really exist on the top plate. As soon as you get down to the bottom, it is known as the slums, where they basically, you'll see it here soon, essentially are living off scraps. And there's not really a good sense of whether upward mobility is possible. But the hell's it matter? A lot of it was there because they decided to build Midgar where there were already existing towns. Yes, the Mako Revolution and its consequences were a disaster for the human race. And surprisingly enough, the eco-terrorist people were 100% correct, because there's no real good way to put it. Mako is basically the life stream. Life stream allows the cycle of death and rebirth to continue on this planet. And as a result, if they're draining that life force, you're essentially draining the souls of the departed to help turn your freaking lamp on while you're reading your book at night. Because of that pizza, the people underneath are suffering. Yeah, I get it. City below is full of polluted air. Barrett's got the right of it. On top of that, the reactor keeps draining up all the energy. Oh, look at Cloud. No basic understanding of economics. Great! Probably because they ain't got any money. Or maybe they love their land no matter how polluted it gets. So I'm seeing a lot of old people just like, I've lived here my whole life, I'll die here too. I know no one lives in the slums because they want to. Then why did you ask that question? And now he gets metaphorical and deep. There you go. It's like this train, it can't go anywhere. If its rails won't take it there, kind of. Come on. I would say the slums of Midgar aren't quite like living in the old heartland of Indiana here, but I'll go with it. That's a quote to live by, isn't it? That's the... I also love this thrice damned state and its poisoned soul. Get over here. Let's talk about our plans in public. Specifically talking about the explosion in the middle of public. I know there's not a whole lot of people around, but you can't tell me that guy standing by the train's not gonna rat somebody out. And then you guys act conspicuous as hell on the way back. Why not? Pretty sure he fired a few shots into that bar, which is really not a great way to treat your patron. Thank you, Barrett. Why should she say anything to Cloud? He's kind of a dick at this point in the story. Everything went well. I'll lie. Not this time. So yeah, Tifa and Cloud have a shared history. Everybody's name stays the same this time. You can rename every character. Well, all the Wayne characters that can be in your party. I guess I should Shouldn't say every character. Oh, Cloud, you shouldn't have. I didn't. Let's give it to Marley. No, give it to Tifa. This will influence Gold Saucer later. You actually can build up relationship points with certain characters, and it will depend on who you go on a date with at Gold Saucer. Although, I always go for Aerith because I'm pretty sure it's the one canonically you're supposed to go with, but when you get Barret, it's hilarious. Alright. Oh wait, let's talk here. Nothing like the first drink after a job. I love the Avalanche crew. Hell yeah. Let's start the meeting from the... That's a terrible thing to do. Somebody hits the wrong button on the pinball machine, and all of a sudden they're down in Avalanche's hideout. At that point, you have to be a recruit, because Barret's got a gun for an arm, and you have no idea if he's going to make sure you don't snitch. Give me something hard. Look at that animation. Once I get that money, I'm out of here. Truly hardened mercenary. Pay attention to all those subtle clues that Tifa keeps asking Cloud about throughout this game. If you've never played it, it will become very important later. And there we go. Learned how to make the bomb off the computer. Good job, Jesse. Damn miscalculations causing bigger explosions. I like how in a remake it's implied that the bomb actually didn't do anything. It was actually Shinra that detonated the reactor from it, so they could blame it on Avalanche and gear up for a war with Wutai. Something I want to ask you. Anyone from Soldier? Hell no. If there's anyone from Soldier, you wouldn't be standing here now. I don't really think... You see a lot of Soldier second class in this game. You don't really see a whole lot of first, but by that time, most of them were either suffering from degradation and or dead. Zack Fair, Soldier first class, dead by this point. Sephiroth, Soldier first class, presumed dead. Kind of is, kind of isn't. And Genesis Rhapsodos, considered dead, but not. But heavily degrading, at the very least. And then there is Angeal, Zack's mentor, who is most certainly dead. And that's really all the Soldier First Class information you get from the entire compilation Final Fantasy. No, Soldier's not an acronym, it's just lazily named, if we're gonna be honest. Wait, Cloud. Don't be a dick about it, Barret. Looks like he still misses the Shinra. Cloud and Shinra sitting in a tree. Shut up. Here goes. Gotta be a dick on his way out, too. Straighten things up with everyone for me. Fine. You don't have to, you can just take the pinball machine out, but since Barret took the time to fling old poor Biggs there like he was a freaking action figure, then Might be worth talking to everybody. I really don't care. There you go. The Wedge was right. If I would have chosen to blow him off, he would have just said, well, I think you really are just lonely and want friends. And it's true. Listen, Cloud, I'm asking you, please join us. The planet is dying. This game had an environmentalist message before it was cool. I didn't forget the promise. Shit, what was that again? Oh, look at that. 7 years ago. Let's go ahead and see what this promise was. She says, look, the well. They can share a shared mental projection. So, there you go. There is one fun thing about this game, is that there were definitely some translation errors. Not quite present right off the bat. There's a little bit of weird syntax here and there, but for the most part, you don't really see it until you... Like the one I'm thinking of in particular, you talk to this guy in one of the other sectors, and Tifa's like, oh, don't pay any attention to them, this guy are sick. Oh, man. This truly was like the golden era of RPGs. You think about all the games that they released with RPGs during this time that were absolutely amazing. Chrono Trigger, Final Fantasy VI. Final Fantasy V is vastly underrated. What else am I thinking of? Vagrant Story, Final Fantasy VII, Final Fantasy Tactics, which hopefully I will be streaming next month when it comes out. The remake, that is. And I'm even going to include Final Fantasy VIII in there, even though I don't particularly like it. It was a big swing on their part, and there were definitely parts that were interesting. Oh, and of course, thank you in the chat for correcting me, Xenogears, which is easily, to me, the greatest game of all time. And there's no question about that. Out of my top 3, 1 and 2 are Xenogears and FF7. Mega Man Legends did come out in 97, but I don't consider that an RPG necessarily. Definitely a little bit more action-oriented. I mean, I guess we could also say, what, Breath of Fire on the SNES as well? And those games, Dragon Quests are really starting to come through too. I mean, to me, you still can't beat that era in terms of RPGs. Pretty sure we also had, what? I think in Suikoden, Grandia... damn, there was a lot, basically. PlayStation was by far the RPG machine, which was really good for them starting out, because after Final Fantasy VII really put it on the map and showed what it can do, people started taking a lot more chances and investing in them. I'll say, you know, Castlevania Symphony of the Night, I'll count that as a good RPG. More action-oriented still, but Metroidvania, technically. I guess that should be a given, right? Castlevania, Metroidvania, it's in the freaking title. It's just a mishmash, or a mashup of their names. But, and one I forgot, which didn't sell well at the time. People still have fond memories of it. Legend of Dragoon. Diablo and Diablo 2 were also in the 90s, yes. You also had your great PC RPGs. Thanks for calling that out. Fallout, Fallout 2. Why can't I think of it? Planescape Torment. A lot of good stuff that came out of that. Of course, Baldur's Gate 1 and 2. Baldur's Gate 2 might have been the early 2000s, so I'm not sure. But even at that, doesn't really matter. That time period was the absolute best of the best. 1,500 gil? You cheapskate. We blew up a freaking power plant and you just want to give me 1,500 bucks? Now, I know I balk at that total, but just wait till I go to the shops here in a second and see how little it actually gets me. Fine, 2,000. Say what you will about Barrett, he's a great haggler. Oh, did you sleep well? Next to you, who wouldn't? Yes, you do. You know what we mean. Alright, well. Let's go, then. It's a dick thing to say, but I just don't want to sit through the tutorial, so here we go. Yes, I know. So there's one fun fact about Final Fantasy VII. In particular, Cloud is capable of getting another weapon by the end of Midgar, but you have to steal it. I believe it's a hard edge that you can get in Shinra headquarters. So, technically, yes. So, that. Yes, I sold my one and only ether for the time being, which is absolutely fine by me. It might be bad for you to not buy something. Is he going to kill me if I don't? Nope. This is the beginner's hall right here. Thank you. See, part of me likes to think at this time it's not this guy talking to me, it's the treasure chest. Just because it keeps flapping. I mean, the limitations of the day definitely make the character models look weird in this game, which is why Cloud kind of looks like Popeye. But it was pretty damn good for its time. Oh look, we will see each other again. Thank you. No, he killed it. Let's see. Oh, you'll rap with him for a while. So this is where you can find out about all the stuff you kind of need, that you might need at the beginning. But, I'm not going to. Although this one's worth it. Yes, child fighting. Your limit gauge is starting to build. There you go. Oh, man. Need a cure spell for that one. Oh. He's coming back for it. Magic Barrier or Reflect. Something you can't have for a while yet. I wouldn't say till about... could be wrong, but maybe... I keep wanting to say Rocket Town, but I feel like you could also get Barrier in Juno. Or Junon, sorry. Oh wow, there's a deep reference in the chat there. She liberated her mitochondria. That's another good RPG I missed. Parasite Eve. They actually took some of the unused elements from the original Final Fantasy VII story they'd worked on, where it was set in New York and Cloud was like a detective, and essentially used that for Parasite Eve for old Aya. Now, the size of the sword has nothing to do with the Reflect. It's all about the materia. When you get the Barrier materia, it lets you cast Barrier, Imbarrier, Reflect, and Wall if you upgrade it appropriately. And Cloud got that kid's ass. Cloud basically got that kid to get his ass kicked. There we go. Don't mess with me, I used to be a soldier. I'll tell you how much I know, and for free, too. I like how it's your character getting to explain about all these things. It's a weird way to go about it. But he was also an elite member of Soldier. Or was he? Nope. That kid is incredibly right. Doesn't even realize it. I'm trying to remember. I felt like there are flyers around this game you can find for a place called Turtle's Paradise, which is in the optional section of the game in Wutai. And God, did I hate that section when I first got there the first time I played this game. Part of me still hates Wutai. Actually. Give me shit. He's right. I am cheap. Alright. One thing I forgot to do here. Let's get some materia. Ah, no. Didn't mean to do that. That's alright. That's fine. I get for not paying attention anyway. You should get restored. You will not get enough to make a full run of that. You can sell materia in this game as well. One of the best parts about it is if you can get an all mastered all the way up for all four, like you see here, Fire has 4 stars. At Star 2 you get Fire 2, Star 3 you get Fire 3, Star 4 it gets mastered, and you get a brand new Fire materia, all for free, right? So it's absolutely worth it to get all upgraded all the way because it sells insanely high. Although, in all honesty, if you grind the proper way in this game, you really won't ever need money or have to worry about it. He said we'd meet again, and we met right outside the train station. Here it goes. I still don't know what the hell this is. You know, it's the first time we've ever agreed on something. Yes. Well then, shall we? Still have no idea what the hell that means. I'm assuming they were just so taken aback by the fact they agreed they just passed out, but either that or it's some weird-ass, like, death pact or something, I don't know. I mean, you don't have to pay attention to grinding, but there are certain benefits to it outside of getting money. Like, this is one of my favorite parts about RPGs, is that basically the way to get rich is essentially to absolutely destroy an ecosystem. Go outside and start beating the hell out of wolves and other types of enemies that you'll see just to get some cash off of them. Not from selling anything they drop, it's just all of them are carrying a little bit of scratch. But there are ways that you can maximize your grinding to really make it worthwhile to stay in one place. Especially, I would say, pay attention to the size of the enemy groups that you'll find on average. And while you're in Midgar, you honestly don't really have to do much grinding for anything if you don't want to. I usually do in between sectors 5 and 7, though. But the reason I do, especially in the early game, is to develop limit breaks early. Before I get to Junon, which is really the second town, the full town that you experience in the game, outside of Midgar, you go to Calm, then you go to Junon. Before Junon, I'll have everybody's level 3 limit break. Xbox kind of does let you finish when you finish Disc 1. They still have that built in. It's just a save point, and they're just like, switching now. Although, I remember exactly when each disc ends. Uh-oh, 3 more minutes to the ID checkpoint. And we get to jump off the train. Another classic trope. Guy lives on the train. Shinra manager. Bragged everyone at work about how he pissed his pants on a subway train. Good for him. That'd be interesting. Instead of chapters, calling the chapters in Horizons of Achaea discs. I kind of like that, actually. Come a little closer. I know you've seen this already, but let's watch it again. Uh-oh. Train will be conducted. And it was Jessie that blew it because she made your ID special compared to everyone else's because she is in love with Cloud. Excuse me, fellas. Ugh. Move up the train car by car, get past it. Come on, folks, let's get out of here. Get the hell out of the way! Yeah. This game was definitely before they started putting epilepsy warnings on all of them that had any flashing light sequences. Which I actually cannot play this game around my wife because she is epileptic. Watch closely, I'm gonna jump. That's not that hard. Just don't hit a pole. Care if I go first? Alright, fine. I'm go getting your spiky ass hurt? It's only the beginning. Alright. He also has spikes on his ass. Fun fact about Plaid. Why did Wedge choose that as the disguise? The weird overalls there. So far, everything's going as planned. We had to dive off a train. Because that's not going to tip off security anywhere else. Let's go get to that. Pay attention. But we can go further because they always can place convenient freaking vents. Go down, there's no use just looking around. I don't care if you get the chills, Barrett. Save the planet. Let's see what this does. Oh, no. By all rules. And a level up for 1. I love this music. My wife pointed out something in the very first reactor you go into, is that music, she keeps saying like, oh, is that the Pirates of the Caribbean music? I'm like, this was before that. But she does it to make me, she does it just to absolutely irritate me. It does sound kind of like, it's that same bum bum bada bum bum bada bum. Like, once you hear it, you won't ever unhear it. That sucks. First bout with status defects in the second dungeon. However, worth it. Every hit he takes, you're getting a little closer to a limit break. You know, I used to want explanations for why why Cloud was able to go toe-to-toe with people with guns when he had a sword. And then I realized by the time I played Final Fantasy XIII that explanations weren't important, because Snow's freaking trench coat in Final Fantasy XIII was apparently the source of his power, along with, it was either tattoos or some kind of patterns he could put on it that made him more powerful, to which is irritating as hell. But you only really notice those things in the games you don't particularly like, though, either. Did your best but failed. That's fine. We only had to jump off a train quicker. the right direction. Tents, which you can only use at save points or on the world map. I don't have them either right now. I will quit using materia from this point forward. Well, till the end of this dungeon. Oop. Not gonna hit me from behind. Or beneficial for limit breaks, but... I love these sound effects. That quick bump, or the that you get whenever an enemy dies. Probably a terrible impression of that, but that's fine. This is why it sucks getting caught from behind, because then you get stuck in the back row, you do less damage. However, you take less damage too, so benefits, but it will make fights like this take longer. Also, a rule I have with this game is never run from any of the fights. Can you please just hit Barrett already so he'll wake up? Thank you. And he's gone. Right? Huh? Thank you. Oh, right. I remember this. This is going to be that timing mini-game coming up. I call it a mini-game, but timing related. I still love this music. A little better constructed because it's not a crumbling walkway anymore. It's still just something that if you want to use these ladders that they have placed there, you still have to jump over something that if you miss, you'll just probably fall to your death. Again, Shinra with their incredible architecture and upholding of good labor safety standards. You know, a sword and a gun definitely makes sense for fighting robots. Punching a robot to death just seems highly unlikely. I mean, hell, I've seen the video of those ones, forgot who was developing it, but that one dog-looking robot that you can kick and it won't fall over. So, I guess these aren't quite as advanced as that one. Uh-oh, flashback time. Back when Tifa wore cowboy hats. One thing that doesn't get discussed in this game, from what I remember, is Tifa being able to pick up Sephiroth's sword at that time means she was pretty damn strong in her own right. They even say in one of the flashbacks that only Sephiroth could use it. Let's see. Alright, I am on all fours at the moment, having a weird flashback. That is a no. But the good news is even after this, Barrett still thinks he should handle the bomb. Take back what I said about not using materia. Get blasted. None of them like Tifa. However, it should be noted that per battle, you can only use all magic equipped to something based on the amount of levels you have gained with all. So right now, Barrett is only able to use lightning on all one time per battle. No timer. Oop, there you go. No. Just wanna go beat the crap out of this boss, who's honestly conveniently named like a vacuum cleaner. And yes, this is one of those RPGs where you can just mash the attack button if you want to. Catching up. You know, I'm gonna be honest, based on that comment in the chat, I honestly don't think there's nothing that I've ever seen to suggest that Shinra actually has a health plan or properly compensates its employees. It kind of feels like the kind of place where if you would have gotten hurt in the avalanche bombing, workman's comp wouldn't cover that. I'm not saying they're cheap, they're just evil. I keep acting like I don't have Cure equipped. You know, these are definitely Shinra security forces. And they built a lot of weird stuff. But when you realize who one of their chief scientists is and who their head of weapons development is, you realize that it's all crazy and they probably thought it was a great idea. This annoying ass thing. I remember the first time I did this, it took forever. Sometimes it still does. A little off. Let's do this again. Okay. Oh, come on. Yeah, between Hojo, Scarlet, and Heidegger, there's too much batshit crazy in one area for anything to look normal. And in all honesty, we actually know that Hojo wound up creating a lot of the monsters you see by basically essentially sticking people completely within Mako in a similar way that you would actually kind of create materia. Like, it's completely terrible. Here we go. Boss fight. Well, what the hell's going on? Yeah, a trap. Probably because you were talking about huge explosions in the middle of a train station earlier. Yeah, that's a really good point. If this were a comic book world, sticking people in Mako and essentially giving them fantastic abilities and turning them into monsters, that would essentially make them similar to this world's Wolverine. I mean, not quite there on the origin story, but it's damn close. So you all must be, what was it? Avalanche! Yes, President Shinra. Oh, you're the one who quit Soldier and joined Avalanche. Oh yeah, everybody, Soldier First Class were essentially bathed in Mako at one point, which actually winds up giving them all a very interesting eye quirk in which their eyes are just bright blue. Tell me, traitor, what was your name? Cloud. Really? For everyone's name. He was brilliant, perhaps too brilliant. Wait, who is this Sephiroth? I take it we'll meet him later? Shinra the vermin for killing the planet. Guess they'd make you king vermin, so shut up, jackass. Sick burn, Barrett. It's a little desperate. Have a dinner I must attend. You know, in Remake, he actually couldn't even be bothered to be there. He actually just gives you a projection of himself to mock you from afar. That noise? It is a robot named the Airbuster. Yeah, it sounds like a vacuum cleaner. Shinra, in collaboration with Dyson, made a security robot. We gotta do something about him. Let's mess him up. Of course it's not from Soldier, just a machine. I don't care what it is. And this is the first time you get, I mean, still, my favorite boss theme in any game. Go ahead, counterattack him. Fool. This thing doesn't have a whole lot of HP. It's less than 2,000. I want to say it was 1,200, but I could be wrong on that one. Might be upward of 2,000, actually. Last guy. A slow turnaround. Damn! Good hit. Every bit of this. It's over? Yeah, it's over. Do the appropriate limit break usage, you can kick the shit out of this thing and just be on your merry way. So the first few bosses in this game were incredibly easy. Still so much I want to tell you. Stop talking like this is the end, damn it. Now I know Cloud looks like he's falling from a really high up spot, but luckily a single church roof and a small flower bed will break his fall. And despite the fact it seems like he should probably be paced, he's fine. And honestly, since he falls on the flower bed, it allows sun through there. I don't think there was a roof to fall through, come to think of it. So you notice here he's essentially talking to himself in his own head and can't quite figure out who the voice is supposed to be. Which you'll get the idea later, but also something that was played with in Xenogears was having the main character have this split personality or a dual side to themselves that they weren't quite aware of. Came crashing down right through the damned roof. I don't see how that's lucky. He'll be digging shingles out of his back for the next month. I don't know if the flowers are resilient to have a small meteor strike, essentially, not kill a few of them. 'Tis a sacred place. So we meet again. Yes, I remember. Again, I'm going to say all the right things. I'm not going to call her the slum drunk, because I want to get the date with her at Gold Saucer, because it is by far the most meaningful to the story. Even though I do think Barrett's date is considerably better. Oh, but her materia is the most useful. Your mother just so happened to be holding on to the most valuable weapon on the planet. I don't mind talking. Especially while you just go poke around at your flowers. Why not? Well, I am very impatient. I'm correcting a mistake. Yeah, for some reason they translated Aerith's name from what it was in Japanese, which was Aerith, or at least in the Japanese release, to Eris for some reason. But just an error, I suppose, on their part. But I do make a habit to correct that every damn time. But I want to punch him so bad. Oh, well, don't mind you. Now that you said that, I clearly won't. Uh-oh, bodyguard time. If I go out with you once. What? Well, Cloud jumped on that quick, didn't he? You don't know me. I know you. Turk. Reno. Do you like his music, though? Or the Turk's music in general, actually. Reno want him taken out? I haven't decided yet. We'll run as far as we can from the door and hope this place has a back door. So that way we don't have to take a really stupid way over some rooftops. Especially if there might be a hole in part of it now. They were Mako eyes. Alright, let's get to work. I love this. Don't step on the flowers. But Reno can do that because he's part of the Turks. And that's fine. Don't run into that very often. That reminds me. Need to check her equipment after this. Interesting question. Is she like Relina Peacecraft? I honestly, it's been so long since I watched Gundam Wing, I couldn't tell you. Alright. You get that. Thankfully, before I fell, Barrett tossed everything I needed back at me. Alright, and then to equip that. Take it back, give you that. Oh, I don't think Aerith believes in pacifism completely. She's kind of got that hippie commune with the planet vibe, but that's because she can literally talk to the damn planet. I mean, I guess more technically she communes with the live stream, but the live stream fuels the planet, so... like that. Here we go. I'm gonna fail this one, I think, at first. Yep, that was dumb. I should have gone for the back one. Alright. We'll figure this one out. I think that's gonna mean she has at least 2 fights, though. Oh, it's been a little bit. But you can actually use those barrels to avoid all the fights, provided you get it right, and I should have known. Ah, here we go. Hold on a minute. Donkey Kong! Damn it, get up. Take your time, Aerith. Reno's so damn lazy. Donkey Kong again! Insert the sound effect there. Excuse me, guys, I got better shit to do. So yeah, get to play a little bit of Donkey Kong in part of this game. So long as you can squish soldiers with barrels. Look at that expert jump. A true acrobat. Not the first time. Man, you must be super important. Yeah, they do a lot of that stuff. Spying, murder, kidnapping. Horrible atrocities you'll get to see here shortly. You know, all those things. Let's mosey. I mean, with what I just saw him do, I'm pretty sure I couldn't do it. And the fact that she can, even at a slower pace, kind of feel like Aerith is more athletic than I am. And honestly, does not feel good. Ah, yes, I was. Infused with Mako. Well then, that's a lie. Her first boyfriend was Soldier First Class Zack Fair. Another funny part about this game is that actually the Zack addition to any part of the story came later, toward the end of the development cycle. And it was tacked on to add a few more scenes, and they wanted to add more, but because it was so late in the development cycle, they couldn't get everything they wanted in there, which is why it feels like it was rushed in. Well, let's go talk to this guy if he only answers. Fine, Aerith. Oh, they changed it. In the original release, it was mistranslated to say, "This guy are sick." So there you go. There's one prime difference. Yeah, I'm definitely not a doctor. Ooh, a tattoo. Mysterious that you pointed out. I wonder if that'll play in later. I'm going to quit annoyingly telegraphing all that. Yeah, already got all that. Always check the shops, no matter what. Another rule of RPGs. Why not? Yeah, everybody knows that President Shinra is a damn liar. Although, again, he's just president of the Shinra Electric Power Company that somehow owns the world. I guess because they essentially control all the methods of production for the resources, but... There it is, Turtle Paradise news. If you actually get all these flyers throughout the game, you wind up getting a nice little care package once you actually make it to Turtle's Paradise. That kid also has 10 gil, I believe, stashed in a chest up in his, or stashed in the drawers up in his room that you could actually take too, but it's not advised to do so, because there's an item I believe he'll give you later if you don't. More weapons. Too bad. Let's go across the room here. Hold on, one more. What material did I even have left? Oh. That was a big mistake. I don't really use ice that often. It's not really all that great in this game. Keep it equipped, because if you want to get certain items, you do have to master every materia. As soon as that sucker's done, I will get rid of it. Flowers don't normally grow in Midgar, but they do in the church, and also, holy crap, she has to be one of the biggest landowners you see in the slums. This might be almost at the 2-hour mark, so this might actually be once the lovely get-to-know-you session for Aerith is over, and before we head to Wall Market. Might be a good place to need to stop. You're not hurt, are you? So, the fact that the Shinra company is not going to necessarily take her by force, Reno would have if they would have gotten caught there, but it's noted even in Crisis Core, which takes place years before Final Fantasy VII and ends right before Final Fantasy VII begins, that Sang of the Turks, or Song, sorry, was actually keeping watch on her for the longest time. And you'll even see it here, I believe, in the flashback coming up. Is Tifa a girl? Yep. No way. Cooties. put yourself in danger again? I'm used to it. She too likes to live dangerously. Cloud really does have all the freaking acumen of a juvenile teen boy. I don't want to get help from a girl. Ugh. If you must go, why don't you go tomorrow? I know why the Aerith flashback comes up a little later. Yes, I am. I don't know how to say this, but get the hell out of here. Sure, I can do that. Alright, let's do this because seem pretty tired. That's sad. Wouldn't that suck if you had to tell the inner voice in your head to shut up so you could go to sleep? I only do that when my anxiety is going way the hell out of control. Let's see. My, how you've grown. Oh look, his mom has spiky hair too. A lot of temptations in the city. I must have fallen asleep. Oh shit, that's right. I meant to... Yeah, go back. You gotta walk. Otherwise she will keep popping out of her room and making you go back. Hey, seriously? Oh. Okay, this is gonna be a fun one. I was trying to hold in the button to... There we go, I just gotta use the D-pad. Walk out slowly. Boards don't creak when you walk. Now I can run though, who gives a shit. Alright. Oh, that's funny. There's a lot of inner voice chat here in the old, or in our chat group right now. I don't like that, but what if consciousness doesn't carry over? What if this is the end of me and the birth of another me tomorrow? That sounds like a damn conspiracy Keanu meme. There we go. Wizard! How did you beat me here? Why, thank you. Such a gracious tour guide. And that, dear friends, is a good place to stop as any, right before a wall market. This is also a place I like to actually do a little bit of grinding in between. It's good for grinding the limit breaks, though, in particular, because some of the enemies here have a little more health, and they will beat the crap out of you. So after this fight, I'll go ahead and pause this sucker. Oh, so close to another limit break use. Oh, not Walmart, Wall Market. I believe is technically Sector 6. And run by the ruthless crime boss Don Corneo. Which honestly, ruthless is a pretty generous description of him. He's kind of a joke. But that'll be saved for next time. What I plan on doing is playing Final Fantasy VII at the very least, up to the point, because this will take a while, that Final Fantasy Tactics The Evilist Chronicles come out, because I would love to play that next. But thank you folks for joining me here, and next time that I jump on, next Friday, it'll actually be Wall Market time, and a somewhat controversial part of the game. So I will see you guys then.